Today we're going to find out whether Leffe 0.0 is still one of the best alcohol-free beers in the world, but we're not going to do it right here. Today we're going on an adventure. Welcome to Pedals and Pints. Hello and welcome back to the channel and welcome to Pedals and Pints. This is my new series all about enjoying beer but with a bit more lifestyle balance. So what I'm going to be doing in this series is taking you out with me on my new bike. Yes, it's an e-bike because, well, let's be honest, I've reviewed a lot of beer and whiskey on this channel over the last 3 and a bit years, and well, it's not always the healthiest thing. That coupled with the fact that I have a fairly sedentary job, and yeah, I felt like I needed to find a bit more of a balance in my life, and this, well, get a bit of exercise whilst going to review a beer in this weather anyway. Sounds like an absolute dream. That's the M1, by the way. This is what we're currently crossing. I started off on the very bumpy, the camera's dropped, on the western point of Notts, and I'm headed towards the Derbyshire border. So for those of you who just watch for beer content, nothing to worry about. Nothing's going to change. You're still getting that beer content, but sometimes with slightly nicer views like this. And then on the very odd occasion, there will be something a bit different, something maybe more bike related, but they will be few and far between. On the flip side, not every bit of beer content is going to look like this. We'll be back in the studio some days, others not. Some days we'll go out for a quick ride and then review back in the studio properly. It's all going to change up a bit. There's going to be pub trips. We're going to go out to some of my kind of local-ish favourites. I don't have any good locals nearby, which is why a bike made the most sense. So I can get a little bit further afield and, you know, take you on some adventures. And let's be honest, the more I use it, the fitter I should get, and well, then we can go even further afield. Some sketchy gravel here. This is a gravel bike, so it's made just for it, but ooh, tight, twisty, and we're through. So as I was saying, the occasional bit of, I guess, more specialist bike content, but I do really mean occasional. Tomorrow there is going to be another video, a bonus video, which is going to be an unboxing and first ride review of this bike. But that's it, that's all I've got planned at the moment. Probably do a long-term review, but otherwise it is indeed beer and whiskey as normal, but well, just with the nice addition of some more scenic and, let's be honest, healthier lifestyle approaches. I am not against drinking a beer or two more than you probably should, as everyone well knows, but there comes a point where if you want to keep doing what I'm doing, then you may need to just consider how to balance that lifestyle off just a little bit. So currently we're just making our way through a load of farmland on the outskirts of Nottingham. A little bit of a hill to go up, and once we've done this, then it'll be downhill to our first beer review destination. Today we are reviewing the beer out and about in the wild. As I said at the start, it is Leffe's alcohol-free beer, which, well, I'll be honest, is just one of my favourite alcohol-free beers, so let's get to it. Now I must say, and I cover this a lot in the video that's coming out tomorrow, which was actually shot, well, before today, but whilst I'm actually quite an experienced cyclist, I'm not great because well, the kit bag's just fallen off, so bear with. So it turns out when you fill your bike bag up with beer, well, doesn't hold onto the bike as well. That might be something we need to address here, but or maybe I'm just an idiot and didn't put it on correctly, probably lightly. All right, it's a warm day. I've decided, as usual, to wear a plaid shirt, which was a bad call. So let's go and crack this beer open while it's still warm. I forgot how muddy it gets down here. Oh, slippy, slippy, slippy. This place is bogged out, full of mosquitoes, and well, the only possible bit of it is blocked by a tree. I'll be honest, I didn't have getting off and pushing down on my bingo list for this first video, but well, it might be summer in the UK, but the signs of winter take a little while to disappear. Useless piece of shit. Canyon. I sang the praises about this bag in the video that comes out tomorrow. So here is my secluded little spot in a field on the outskirts, just on the border of Nottinghamshire and Derbyshire. So this is the bike. It's a Canyon Grizzle on, an electric gravel bike. Bike nerds, you can go look it up. Non-bike nerds don't care, so I'm not going to get into it too much. There's a whole video about this coming out tomorrow. I'll be honest, I completely love it so far, with the exception of what's been happening with this attachment bag here today. In here, of course, is where I keep things such as spare tools and, more importantly, a beer. Now, I've opted not to sit on that chair because, frankly, it's, well, unstable as an unstable person. Let's not be mean. Oh, sweaty head time. And this is the reward for our efforts. To be honest, I've not cycled that far to get here. We're probably about 5 miles in. Got a bit more to go home. We'll go home the long way, talk a bit more about the beer. But this is Leffe Blonde 0.0. It's a alcohol-free version of their ever famous blonde Belgian beer. It is, I believe, available in Tesco still. I'm not sure though if anyone else has started selling it, but yeah, it's a nice looking thing. So let's get into it. New one for me, opening beer with a bike multi-tool, but let's see how bad all that shaking around was with the bag falling off and everything else, if I can work out how this is meant to work.
One eternity later.
There we go. Actually, not too bad, and it's still pretty cool. The idea really was to get out and film this at the first half of the ride, so it wasn't completely warm. I'm not going to be pouring it out, that's just what it looks like in the bottle. So, out of the bottle aromas, this feels very improper compared to what I'm used to doing, but you know, different things, different experiences. If you are going to go on a bike ride, a 0% beer does make a lot of sense. You're not going to be inhibited to control your bike on your way back or anything like that. It never fails to amaze me how much this does smell like Leffe, which of course is a mad thing to say, it is Leffe, but most alcohol-free beers, so many of them, especially the mass-produced ones anyway, there are some craft specialists who are fantastic, shout out Mash Gang, but you know, most of the big boys, they still have this kind of weird, synthetic, slightly starchy, potato-y quality about them on the aroma and on the taste, but this, maybe a bit sweeter than regular Leffe, maybe a bit more floral, but it really is in the ballpark, so let's give it a go. Cheers. So a lot of this series, a lot of what I'm trying to do here is not only just encourage healthier behaviour, but also just consider how much better a beer tastes after you've done a bit of exercise. Even this, an alcohol-free one, I'm like, you know what? Yeah, fancy that now. Probably sat at home, begrudgingly review it because I think it's worth knowing about, even though I didn't really fancy it at the time, but now, yeah, sure. Cheers. The flavour on this, and I have reviewed it before if you want a proper in-depth look at it, but the flavour on this isn't quite Leffe. At least it's not got the richness, it's not got the spikiness, it's not got the zing, but most of that comes from that slightly higher ABV. In this, it replaces that with, it's a weird note, but I do like it. It's experienced, that's not a word, it's physically like a bit like candied ginger in that it's really sweet, but then you've got that earthiness and you've got that slight pizzazz, the heat from the ginger. It's not spicy, it's not gingery even, but the way the flavour comes across, whatever that thing is, it's almost like, yeah, some kind of candied fruit, really does, yeah, give you a richer and more just full-bodied experience. Bonus points to anyone who can count the amount of bunnies that have run behind me in the back here since I've been filming, because I've not been looking, but I know for a fact there are loads and loads of massive rabbits up in this field, and yeah, I saw a few when I entered, but maybe I've scared them all off, I don't know. Big bird of prey just gone into the tree over there, it would be too far away for you to see, but well, beer in nature. I don't know, I did a video, well, it went out at the time of filming a few days ago, but by the time you see this a few weeks ago, and it was me reviewing a whiskey on Ardnamurchan Point, which is where, it was Ardnamurchan Distillery, it was where the product was made, and it just seemed fantastic. And to be honest, I thought that's because I was in the environment, and there is a bit of that. I couldn't really be further away in Europe, or Northern Europe anyway, than Belgium at this point in time. Not geographically, it's pretty, well, nowhere's that far, but it's geographically it's not that far. But environmentally, the Derbyshire border with a Belgian alcohol-free beer, not really got a lot in common. Yet still, this is sipping absolutely wonderfully. So, is Leffe 0.0 still one of the best alcohol-free beers? It is still one of the best, but I don't think it's the best anymore. In fact, I think Guinness have done so much work on theirs that actually that Guinness 0.0 is a better replacement for the original than Leffe 0.0 is, but at a pinch, and if you don't fancy a dark beer, it's still one of the ones I go to. I do find it a bit odd still that Leffe want a 0% beer, because for me, the 0% beer thing is about, I guess, replacing something in an environment where the key focus isn't the thing you're replacing. And let me clarify this. What I mean is, if it's Guinness, you know, you're down watching football, rugby, whatever, down the pub, you don't want to actually drink, but you want to feel like you're immersed in that experience, having a proper pint of the dark stuff makes sense. On the flip side, alcohol-free lager, something like, my mind is just thrown a blank, but the really good one, I'll put it on screen now. You know, on a hot day, you go out on your bike, motorbike, in your car, you stop at a pub, you want to feel like part of that pub experience, but you got to drive, ride, cycle back. Again, it makes sense. I don't know that in those scenarios, if the concern of the booze was an issue, that I'd want a Leffe. Of course, if you're not drinking at all, it makes perfect sense and it's great for those people, but as the replacement beer, for the rest of us, I just want, I don't know, maybe something that's not trying to be as big, as rich, as bold, because ultimately when I go for a regular Leffe, I'm doing it because I want that full Belgian experience, and that's a very unique thing that you don't quite get when it comes to your 0.0s, but hey, it's still very tasty, and I would never say no if you offered me one. So yeah, that's all really I can say about it. I'm gonna get this finished, enjoy the view, and then we'll be back on the road for a little cycle home. Cheers. Well, that was a glorious stop for a little beer. I have to say, when I did the first ride video, that I did end up choking on some flies. Today I feel like it's inevitable because it's later in the day and there's many, many more of them out and about. One thing I'm going to have to get used to in this process is cycling with a degree of, well, leisureliness in mind. It's going to sound mad because, let's be honest, I don't look like the sporty type. I've drunk too many beers, eaten a few too many racks of delicious barbecue ribs, and yeah, you wouldn't think, but it has occurred to me over the years that, well, I've got a little bit of a one-track mind when it comes to the things I want to do at any given point. When it's reviewing beer or reviewing whiskey, I'm not saying that's the only thing I can think about, but it's where a lot of my mental energy goes, and as a result, you can effectively become obsessed with the idea of doing something that, well, maybe isn't helping your waistline. On the flip side, I've gone through periods of my life where I'm never going to say very fit, because I'm definitely not athletically gifted, but very fit by my own standards. And to be honest, during those times, that is all I could think about. I didn't want to drink because my focus was on getting fitter. And I think that's where my problem's been, to be honest. I'm sure some of you can sympathise with this. I feel like I've got to go all in or all out, and as a result, in the past when I've got on a new bike and been like, right, it's fitness time, I've just ended up trying to beat my personal best every time I go out, which, don't get me wrong, is a fantastic thing to do and will make you a lot fitter, but it does prevent you from maybe enjoying it for as long, because you end up, well, knackered pretty quickly. So right now I'm on the Erewash Canal. This canal is one of two canals that runs through Nottingham and, well, eventually Derbyshire, and I'm now back, let's be honest, or just on what we'll call the right side of the border. Sorry people from Derby, but, well, to be fair, depends what you're after. If you want beer and a good time, Nottingham is the way. If you want scenery and bike trails, actually, well, yeah, let's be honest, Derbyshire wins, but hey, I can get to the border, so getting the dream there, best of both, and we will eventually get close to the city centre, but we're taking, let's call it the, not necessarily intense, but definitely the longer way round to get back. Now normally the problem with an electric bike is styles. However, someone's just moved this one completely out of the way, so we're through. Not too gracefully, but we are through. Here we go, the proper one. Thankfully though, this is as light, really, as e-bikes get. Heavier than a standard one, sure, but really, really not that bad. I think I had mountain bikes in the early 2000s that were heavier than this, so it's all good. I have found a small problem with this format, and it's not insurmountable. We can get around it, we can change it up, but coming out just after work, which is what you need to do really to do a beer review, to get the light and everything else. Sure, this time of year you could wait a bit, but in general you have to do it pretty sharpish. All these tracks are filled with people. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, I can see 8 1/4 mile, and well, for me, that's not what getting out in the countryside is all about. So, just down this path, and we'll be back where we started this little adventure. I hope you've enjoyed the new format. It wasn't without its hiccups, I'm going to be honest, but hey, what new kind of thing wouldn't be? Incidentally, the first ride video that comes out tomorrow did go without any hiccups, so except for swallowing a fly, of course. But yeah, it's I think it's got, I was going to say, I think it's got some legs. I think it's got some wheels actually. But again, I'll try and make every video as different as possible. We're going to different places, doing different things, and all by the joy of bikes and beautiful scenery, as you can see over there. But really, that is everything. So as always, thank you very much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please like it. If you haven't already, subscribe if you will be so kind. And I'll catch you next time. Cheers.